Hello and welcome. I'm Trip, and in this video we're going to be talking about swapping a Honda K24 into my FRS. We're going to be talking about why, also what some of the other options I could do, and how. I mean, how hard can it be? Hey, look what I got. This is a JDM K24A. I bought it from JDM Orlando. I paid just shy of $800 for it. That was for the motor plus shipping. Which, yeah, I know you can get them cheaper if you go to the record yard and salvage yard and stuff. But those normally will have high mileage on them, or you don't know, and it's been sitting in the elements and you don't even know the history on them. Not that I know the history on this one, but since it's a JDM engine, usually more than likely it was pulled for mileage. So roughly it might have about 60,000 miles on it, just a guess. I have no proof, no way to prove it, but that's what I'm hoping for. A lot of the local models I was looking at had, well, some of them were even more expensive, but yet had 240,000 miles on it and didn't have everything with it. This one has pretty much all the accessories, the wiring harness, and intake manifold, starter, alternator, power steering, and a bunch of other stuff. It all came with it, so some of that stuff would be handy to have, except for like the brackets and stuff. So that's a plus. Now let's talk about why K24. First of all, we all know the FRS, BOZ, GTA6, the FA20 in it. It's not the best. The car's slow. We all know that. And the motor in it, you really can't make a lot of power out of it unless you go Supercharger or Turbocharger, which, and if you do go that route, it's not going to last. You're going to end up blowing the motor. It just can't handle a lot of boost. Explosions! Then you start building the engine, and once you've gone down that road of building a new engine and throwing a turbocharger on it, I could have just done a K-swap. It would have been probably equal out similar prices, because swap is not going to be cheap. Even though on paper they make similar power, it makes 200 horsepower. This makes 200 horsepower, but the way they make that power is a lot different. This has a lot better power band. Also, revs a lot higher.
It's over 9,000!
A lot of people swear about this engine. They always say it feels like more powerful than it really is, and it's easier to make power with it. It acts a lot better with the bolt-ons, by cleaning up, putting a different intake manifold, better exhaust, and a few other things. You can push this engine to 220, 230 pretty easily with a good tune on it. And you can't really do the same thing with the FA20. Also, these engines are known to be very reliable. People give them hell, they beat on them, they do a ton of track days on them, and they hang in there. Pretty strong, pretty bulletproof.
Still running! What?
They can take a lot of power, so later on if I decide to turbo it, it can handle quite a bit. And if I do blow it up, mess it up, it is significantly cheaper to replace this engine than it is to replace the FA20. Or even just rebuilding this engine. It's probably a little bit easier and cheaper. And I can go to any junkyard and find another one. And just, as long as I get another long block, I'm golden. I can be back on the road. It won't be hard. Just the initial cost of the swap that's expensive. But once it's there, it's a little bit cheaper to fix, I guess. But main reason, big reason, is currently I'm doing time attack for Good Life Street in the street class, and it's a pretty range of cars in that class. And that car, the way it sits, can't really hang with some of the cars in the pointy end of the spectrum, kind of going against Evos, Type R's, and WX's, and other turbocharged cars. I can make a lot more power on the factory engines, which I can't really do with the FA20. So next season, next year, I plan on swapping over to Club TR, so I'm able to do a lot more mods, have a lot more fun with the car, because I enjoy doing engine swaps and modding stuff. So I figured this would be a fun class to be in. I'm not saying I would be competitive, but I could probably have more fun with it. Now let's talk of some of the other options I could do. I could turbocharge the car, or supercharge it, which would bump me up in another class, a higher class. Like street mod they put me in, with some other ridiculously fast cars. And if I go that route, eventually I'm probably going to blow up the engine. Yeah, that motor seems not to last too long once you start boosting it. And it's not as bad on supercharger, but I do plan on tracking it a lot, which is a lot of wear and tear on that engine. So eventually I'm going to have to rebuild that engine if I go that route. Once I account for a rebuilt engine and turbocharger, it's pretty expensive. I'm going to be up towards the $10,000 range. Of course that varies on what you go with and who does the work, which I would be doing the work. Or I can go like put an LS in, which honestly it probably would be cheaper, I think. Or 2JZ, 1JZs. And there's definitely a few other options, and I think all of them would probably cost between $5,000 to $10,000, no matter which way I go. But a lot of those choices will make the car weigh a lot more, and will throw me in some crazy class. And I'd rather not go that route, since I'm somewhat of a beginner with time attack. Well, not somewhat, I am. I would like to kind of stay in the beginner levels where I'm a little more comfortable, and also preserve the handling of the car. If the handling is great, I like to keep it that way.
Line Robin.
But I keep staying with a lightweight engine. Also, this swap is, I don't remember what they say, it's like 150 pounds lighter than the factory engine. So I'm shedding weight just by swapping engines. So yeah, a lot of those engines will not qualify for street or club TR. So the big reasons why I'm not kind of going with these other swaps. But the K24 can. Also, most of the top cars currently in Club TR are all K series. So there's some logic there. That should tell you something, that engine works. Since a lot of people are using it, a lot of people are going to it. It's pretty much the LS swap of the 4 cylinders right now. People are K-swapping everything. So I guess I'll just jump on that bandwagon. Now let's talk about how a little bit. I could make my own kit, fab my own engine mounts and stuff like that, which honestly that portion won't be that bad. I'm sure I can do that. I've done it before. I've done it for this car. Currently there is a few companies that are making kits for it. I think TF Works makes one and Kpower makes one, formerly K24. But those isn't out yet. There's also another company I think that makes kits for it, but I can't remember off the top of my head what the name is. Like a smaller company. So those are options out there, which I'm still weighing out. I need to see what the prices for the Kpower one is going to be, since it's not out yet. It's supposed to come out this summer. So even though I don't plan on doing this swap this summer, probably gonna wait on it. I'm just gonna collect parts, get everything I need, and probably do it during the downtime, during this fall or winter. Because I still technically daily drive my car, and also there's still quite a few events this year I want to do, so I'm gonna wait till later to kill it. Now I really haven't had any major issues or anything out of this factory FA20. It's been pretty good to me, and I do track it quite a bit. I'll drive it hard, and she hasn't had any issues, any hiccups. This is a 2013, and it has 65,000 miles on it, which is relatively low for the year. As you can see, this motor doesn't look too bad. No crazy build up, sludge, anything like that. For the most part, it's pretty clean. Haven't seen anything too crazy on it. Then again, I haven't taken the oil pan, anything like that off.
That's what was inside the oil pan. What is that? It's a Betty Crocker's 1 hour steak.
Which I will. I do plan on giving this engine a freshen up. You know, replace chain, some guides. The oil pan has to be changed anyway. Different manifold. Also a different intake manifold. So a lot of stuff's gonna have to come off. So I'll be able to inspect it then anyway. But there is a lot I gotta learn on this motor. It's been a long time since I've played with Hondas. I used to be a Honda guy, but that was old D series stuff. A little bit of B, a little bit of H stuff I messed with when I was younger. Mostly playing with EGs and EF Hondas, but that was a long time ago. I've been pretty much in the Subaru world and Miata world. If you don't know, there's a Miata drivetrain in there. I've been playing with those cars the past few years now, 10 years or so. So it'd be kind of cool to go back to Hondas. Kind of miss them in a way. So when I do those things, like freshen this engine up and install some of the parts that's required for the swap, I'll bring you guys along with me, kind of learn together. So if you guys have any advice, like some of you got long-term K-Series guys who's been playing with this engine, have a lot of experience with this engine, throw me a comment. Tell me of, like, example, there's a lot of essentials and other things on this engine that I can get rid of.
In the bin.
Let me know what all I can take off and that this car won't be upset about. Well, this engine won't be upset about. Yeah, hit me up in the comments of things I should know about the K-Series and things I should do while it's out, while it's down, when I have it open. Of course, I would do some of the basic things like the oil pump. I'll upgrade the oil pump. This is the Type S, TSX Type S one, that's the big one. you know, things I got along. Also, leave a comment if you think I'm crazy for putting a Honda model in my FRS. Some people might think it's a downgrade. I don't think so. This is also a pure reliable engine. People are known to beat on these, give them hell, and they keep on tipping. But that is it for this video. Like I said, the main swap won't happen until later in the year, but I do plan on putting out a few update videos leading up to it. So come back for those. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so you know when those videos are out. You can figure out what choices I made, what mount kit I made, what all things I'm placing, and what troubles I'm having with the swap. Probably shut up now. Normally I'm doing stuff in my videos. Not as much talking, because I'm kind of terrible at it, as you might have noticed. So yeah, come back for later. Peace.